Good morning, ultimate hustlers and digital empire builders. It is that time for the Cortez Hustle Show. And today we're talking Think and Grow Leadership, what Dr. Napoleon Hill has to say about leadership part 2. Yesterday we did the 10 attributes of leadership. Today we're going to do the 10 most common failures of leadership, right? 10 most common causes of failure of leadership. But I need you guys to do me a huge favor. Comment in the chat where you're from. Drop the name of your business and or your brand and smash that share button, ladies and gentlemen. And let's kick it this morning. Yo, what's up, ultimate hustlers, and welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show, the business podcast for the entrepreneur of the 21st century. And I'm your host, Cortez Hustle. Our goal is to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how the world's greatest hustlers build amazing brands, scale their businesses to incredible heights, sell more, make more, and create mass movements that impact the world. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned vet or you're sitting on the sidelines with aspirations to one day unleash your inner hustle. This show will provide the insights into how pure grit, determination, and hard work has morphed into some of the most iconic brands and personalities and how they are moving the culture forward. You'll get a mix of solo shows featuring yours truly, as well as interviews and content from other hustlers that I either know personally or I've learned from or whose grind I've come to know and respect. And you'll also get exclusive recordings from our membership called Monetize My Life Academy, which you can check out at monetizemylifeacademy.com. That's a program where we go live every month with some of the best hustlers on the planet, sharing best practices on how we all can explode our brands with advanced branding and marketing tactics, business development strategies, and financial game planning necessary to build the empires we all desire. Again, that's at monetizemylifeacademy.com. If you like today's episode, chances are the hustlers you're connected to will like it as well. Share it with those in your network, and when you do, use hashtag Cortez Hustle so I can see you and hopefully give you a shout out and share you in my stories. So check out today's episode and make sure you subscribe to the feed on your favorite podcasting networks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show. I am, of course, your host, Cortez Hustle, everybody's favorite fatherpreneur, coming to you live and direct from the Black Bear Success Mastermind Studios right here in St. Louis, Missouri. If you're not familiar with the Black Bear Success Mastermind and you either want to start a business, have a business, or want to network and connect with Black-owned businesses, you need to text the keyword Mastermind at 314-866-4053. Again, text the keyword Mastermind to 314-866-4053. We literally provide hundreds of dollars of free training and resources every single week to our community. So you want to be a part of that. To get your free invitation, text keyword Mastermind 314-866-4053. Welcome to the show today, guys. You guys are here because you want to learn about leadership, right? According to Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill outlined 11 attributes of leadership, but he also outlined 10 things that causes leaders to fail. So this is part 2 of a 2-part series, and we're going to get all the way up in the 10 reasons that leaders fail. But I need you to do me a huge favor. Comment in the chat where you're from. If you're leading a crew, if you got a business or a brand, then shout that thing out, man. And make sure you hit that share button. Before we do, you guys know I always have a couple announcements. For those of you who are already in the Black Bear Success Mastermind, I've got, and those of you who have the Black Bear Success app, you're building your online presence with our software, then we got new office hours starting next week. We're going to do office hours from 7 p.m. on Monday evenings. That's just basically me open up on a Zoom, willing to take Q&A for anybody who's trying to build a business and you need help with your digital marketing and building your online presence. And then we're going to also do Thursday around noon. I don't know if I'm going to do 11 a.m. or noon. I still got to check my schedule, but I want to do something in the evening for those who are working full-time jobs. But then I want to do something in the afternoon for those who are available to jump on during the day to get their questions answered about building their business and their brands on line. Also, a new webinar series is about to launch. Also, next week, I'm going to be launching a webinar series, probably going to do 2 of those a week, where I'm going to be teaching those of you who want to get into the online space and build a digital marketing agency. I'm going to show you how you can set up a digital marketing agency for free with no experience. And all you have to do is have the desire to want to help others with their online presence. And I'm going to show you how to build a digital marketing agency for free on this webinar series. So be on the lookout for that as well. We're talking leadership, right? What Dr. Napoleon Hill has to say about leadership from the book, Think and Grow Rich. And before we do that, y'all know that we start every episode with a quote of the day. Today's quote is as follows. If you work hard for every dollar you get, that's a sign that you, my friend, are financially illiterate. Now, don't shoot the messenger. That is from a $1 million mentor of mine, Mr. Alvin Curry. If you work hard for every dollar you get, that's a sign that you are financially illiterate, right? And the key word in that is every, right? We know that hard work is required. You know, you got to put in some work, some energy, some effort, some time to make some things happen. But if you're working hard for every dollar, that means you have not learned the principle of putting your money to work for you. And shame on you, man, because one thing that I can guarantee that you will get for working hard for every dollar is you eventually will burn out your body. You got to put yourself in a position, ladies and gentlemen, to have your money working for you. I work for 3 things primarily, right? Passive income, residual income, and ownership. Anything that I put my energy into, I'm trying to acquire one of those 3 things. Either I'm going to be putting my energy into something where I'm going to earn some ownership stake in whatever it is I'm building. Either I'm going to be earning some passive income so that I don't have to put so much energy in all the time, or I'm going to earn some residual income. I'm going to be able to do something one time and get paid for it over and over and over again. Ladies and gentlemen, that's just your boy. I'm not telling you what to do with your time, your energy, and your efforts, but you got to figure out how to put your money to work for you. Cash, asset, cash. There's only one wealth building formula in the world. There's only ever been one. There will only ever be one. You got to figure out every time you get your hands on some cash, use some of it to buy, build, or invest in some sort of income producing asset that will bring you more cash. And when you make that your life's habit, you will build wealth on autopilot. So that is the quote of the day, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by Personal Branding 365. You want to learn how to dominate social media, then you want to learn how to build a personal brand. And I teach you how to do this in the relaunch of this ebook and tons of bonuses that comes with it for $7.95, depending on when you're watching this. Go check this out, personalbranding365.com. It is yours for $7.95. I literally lay out all the strategies, how I built this page to over 120,000 followers, how I launched my podcast, how I built my own platforms, how I put my courses together. Like, I literally show you how to build an attractive, powerful, profitable personal brand with a little bit of effort just daily, and how you put systems in place so that you don't have to spend every waking moment of your life on social media and chasing people around. You can attract the ideal prospects to you, and then you can use systems to convert those prospects into calendar bookings, and you can have conversations with qualified people that are interested in your services. Go to personalbranding365.com and grab yourself a copy of that. So real quick, I'm going to recap what we did yesterday, right? We talked about the major attributes of leadership, and today Napoleon Hill follows that up with the 10 major causes of failure in leadership. And we're going to get all the way off into that today, and we'll wrap this series up. And tomorrow, I've got my man Jay Turner coming on to talk about what's going on in the trucking industry. He has a credit and trucking program where he teaches people how to build their credit so that they can get into the trucking industry. So that's going to be tomorrow. So we talked about the major attributes of leadership. Number one being unwavering courage. Leaders have to be courageous, right? And they can't be fearful. Number two is self-control. People who cannot control themselves can never control other people. Number three, a keen sense of judgment. Without a sense of fairness and justice, no leader can command and retain the respect of his followers. Number four, definiteness of decision, right? The word decision is the opposite of the word incision. When you make an incision, you cut into something. When you make a decision, you cut away stuff. Some of us have to cut away tons and tons and tons of stuff out of our lives to really pursue what we say we want out of life. Number five, definiteness of plans, right? You got to have some sort of plan and be willing to execute that plan, right? Even if the plan doesn't start out as the right one, just starting a plan and executing it is how you get the necessary data and feedback to make the proper adjustments, right? That's why there is no such thing as failure unless you quit, right? You don't fail, you figure out different lessons, right, that you can extract. You figure out how you need to make the proper adjustments when you attempt something and it doesn't go as planned. Number six on the list, we're talking the major attributes of leadership, and then we're going to give you the 10 causes of failure in leadership. Number six is the habit of doing more than paid for, right? This has got to be a habit. Mark Preston, I see you, brother. He says, cut away resistance. Yeah, man. You got to cut away anything that is not serving you or helping to propel you to the next level. Number seven, a pleasing personality, right? This is something worthy of working on. So many people have this, this is who I am, and you got to deal with it type of mentality. I can tell you this, ain't nobody going to deal with that for long. I promise you, right? There's a lot of people, well, this is just who I am. I'm going to do me. Okay. How's that working for you? I'm not saying that you don't show up as your authentic self. I'm saying if you don't have a pleasing personality and people don't want to be around you, the key to success in almost every walk of life is cooperation. And you can't get people to cooperate with you if they don't want to be around you. Yeah, that might be who you are today, but stop saying, this is who I am. I'm going to do me. I ain't changing for nobody. That's a wrong attitude, man. You should be looking to grow and evolve to the best and the highest version of yourself. Number eight, sympathy and understanding. Successful leaders must be in sympathy with their followers. Moreover, they must understand them and their problems, right? Sometimes as leaders, we want to superimpose our will and our efficiencies and the way that we move and operate on other people, right? Some of us have those type A personalities, and we want everybody in our who follow us to have that same type A type of personality. It doesn't work that way, right? As a leader, your job is to identify who people are, where they are, and figure out how to lead them from there and get the most out of them from there, not to make them a carbon copy of yourself. Number nine, mastery of detail. Successful leadership calls for mastery of details of the leader's position, right? Mastery of deep details, right? Facebook user in one of the groups, give me your name. That's good. Superimpose our will on others. That's good. Thank you so much for tuning in and engaging. Don't forget to hit that share button, ladies and gentlemen. Number 10, willingness to assume full responsibility, right? It's all on the leader. I had a conversation with my son the other day based on a conversation that he had with his coaching staff after they had a tough loss, and disturbed my spirit that the coach did not take any responsibility for the loss. Now, I'm not saying the players are not to be held to a standard of execution. Hey, it's the vision writers in the building, my man, Timothy Moore. I see you, brother. Drop the name of your business and or your brand too, man. Y'all are missing out on a huge opportunity of networking in this stream, right? Say who you are, say a little bit about what you do. Just don't be spammy about it. And you never know who you're going to attract to you based on you doing that every morning on the stream. I'm just saying, right? But yeah, it baffled me that the coach did not take any responsibility, let alone full responsibility for the loss, right? I used to coach youth basketball, and every loss was my fault. Every loss was my fault. If we lost, that was because I did not prepare to prepare my players, right? To execute in a manner that would have caused us to win, period, point blank, right? Every loss is my fault because we were not prepared to win, right? Number 11, cooperation. Successful leaders must understand and apply the principle of cooperative effort and be able to influence followers to do the same thing. Let me give you my definition of leadership, right? My definition of leadership. Leaders, and I got this from, I think it came out of this book. I try to give credit in my resources to you guys. So I don't take credit for any of this stuff, man. A lot of times I'm just regurgitating what I'm learning and I'm just bringing it to you because maybe you haven't read the same books or listened to the same podcast or whatever. But in this book, it defines leadership is the ability to get people to do what you need to have done because they want to do it. Oh, I hope y'all caught that. Leadership, a real leader has the ability to get other people to do what the leader needs to have done, but make them feel like it's what they want to do anyway. That's it, right? If I get you to do something and all the while you're doing it, you're fighting the whole while, you're saying you don't want to do this, then I'm not an effective leader. Either I didn't identify your strengths and talents to put you in position to do the things that you want to do to help the organization win, or I'm just being stubborn and I'm trying to force you to do some things that you know. My job is to communicate so well the vision and the mission of the organization. And when you see things that need to be done, I can encourage you or inspire you to do those things because you feel like you want to do those things. So part of leadership is putting people in the right places based on their strengths and their tendencies and their personality and those sorts of things. I'm just saying, right? So we're going to get into these other attributes, right? These are the causes of failed leadership, right? There are two forms of leadership. The first, and by far the most effective, is leadership by consent of and with the sympathy of the followers. That's the first form. That's the most effective. Leadership by consent of and with the sympathy of the followers. The second form of leadership is by force without the consent and sympathy of the followers, right? That's not a sustainable form of leadership. So we're going to talk about these 10 major causes of failure. But before we get to that, those who belong to the old school of leadership by force must acquire an understanding of the new brand of leadership, which is cooperation, or be relegated to the rank and file of the followers. In the future, the relationship of employer and employee will be more like a partnership than it has been in the past. Leadership by consent of the followers is the only brand that can endure. So we're going to talk 10 causes of failed leadership. But before we do that, y'all know what time it is. It is 7:20. So that means it is time for 1 Minute Motivation. If you are new here to the Cortez Hustle Show, 1 Minute Motivation is where we play a short motivational video. And I kind of give my takeaways. I would ask you to comment something that jumps out at you. And this one is probably going to smack some of y'all in the face. I ain't even going to lie. But I hope I can play this video for y'all and we still be friends. So here we go. 1 Minute Motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show.
There's nobody in the world has lied to me more than me. How many times do you tell yourself, it's going to be different this year? How many times have you started the diet saying, oh, this is my year. I'm going to start this year strong. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to eat right. 2 weeks later, what'd you do? You lied to yourself.
Real talk. Most of y'all are going to do a fucking thing. And you're going to be mad at me because I fucking said it. When in reality, you should be mad at yourself because 2 years ago you said shh. Last year you said shh. This year you're saying shh. And next year you're going to be saying the same shh. How about this for 2021? We look at ourselves in the mirror and we tell ourselves the truth. We look at our lives and we tell ourselves the truth. Truth is this, it's very simple. You're either doing it or you're not doing it. You've either been executing or you haven't been executing. You either are truly ready to make a fucking change or you're not. It doesn't matter how many fucking videos you watch. It doesn't matter how many courses you buy. It doesn't fucking matter. What matters is what you're going to do. You got to make a decision that you are not going to be like everybody else. You are not going to live how they live. You are not going to eat how they eat. You're not going to drink how they drink. You're not going to do the kind of work they fucking do. And then you've got to go do that. And you've got to do it one day at a time. Win today. Then you wake up tomorrow and you do the same thing. Then you wake up on Wednesday and you do the same thing. Then you wake up on Thursday and you do the same thing. And when you get to the point where you're winning every day and it's automatic, guess what happens? Winning becomes not something that you aspire to do. Winning becomes who the f you are.
Hoo-wee. I told y'all, some of y'all got slapped in the face this morning, including yours truly. I ain't even gonna lie, man. I tell y'all every day that this show is for me. Right? People often ask, well, Cortez, what are the numbers of your podcast, man? How many people be tuning in? And it don't matter. Because this is for me. I do this podcast for two people. Right? Let me say this before I get into my notes from the 1 Minute Motivation. This podcast is for two people. I do this podcast for me because as I'm learning and growing, I have to speak this stuff out so I can hear it come out of my mouth in my own word, in my own language, right? So that it can go back into my ear gate. So I'm talking to myself out loud more than I'm talking to y'all. Y'all just get to hear, right? But the second person that I'm talking to my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren and my great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren, right? Because podcasts live forever. Right? These audio clips, these YouTube videos, these things will live forever. And my great-great-great-great-grandchildren will never have to wonder how this multi-billion-dollar international media conglomerate was built. They're going to go back and see like, man, my great-great-great-grandpa was broke, but he started a podcast and he started talking and speaking his truth, speaking his values, speaking his mission, speaking his goals and his vision. And even though there wasn't a whole bunch of people tuning in, he was laying a actual blueprint for success. And I got the feeling that most of this won't even be appreciated until years and years and years from now, right? But I'm doing this for me and I'm doing this for my future descendants. Now, y'all just get to jump on and listen, and hopefully y'all hear a nugget or two every now and then that y'all can apply and transform y'all lives, and that would be great. But my question for you today is, who are you? Nobody has lied to me more than me. Nobody has lied to me more than me. Accountability is everything, y'all. Accountability is everything. It's everything, right? You have to be honest with yourself. And if you are not ready to change, say so. And if you are ready to change, then take action. Take action, right? But here's the problem with taking action. A lot of people don't understand how to properly evaluate results, and they like to compare their blooper reel to other people's highlight reel. And when you do that, you feel like a failure. If I ask you to do something 10 times and 7 out of 10 times you fail, by society's general standards, you would consider yourself a failure. We don't look at the 3 wins, we look at the 7 losses, and 7 is more than half of 10. So we would consider ourselves a failure. But if I told you that 10 things I'm asking you to do and you fail 7 times and you win 3 times, if I told you I was asking you to hit a major league fastball and you could hit a major league fastball at a 300% batting average, you make millions and millions and millions of dollars. See, you have to put the results that you are evaluating in proper perspective. So a lot of you guys are making little changes incrementally every day, and you're on the road to winning, but you keep trying to put your blooper reel against other people's highlight reels. You're comparing your chapter 1 to other people's chapter 10. And that causes you to be discouraged about your own individual journey. No, compare your chapter 1 to your page 1. Accountability is everything. Decide to be different, y'all. Make a decision that you are going to be different. Why do I make a decision that I'm going to be different? Because I see the results of what the 95% did. 95% of people in this country, 96% to be exact, of people in this country end up at age 65 dead or dead broke. Period. 95%. So why would I want to do what the 95% are doing? I don't want to do anything that they're doing, because clearly what they do don't work. That's a decision that you have to make. That's a decision you have to make. And you have to make that decision every day, right? How does the saying go? Success is not owned, it's rented. And rent is due every day. You never own success. Success is only rented. And rent is due every day. And you take your win today. And then you get up tomorrow and you pay that toll, you pay that rent, and you win tomorrow. And then you win the next day. And eventually you'll win consecutively enough to where winning becomes who you are. Denzel said in a commencement speech, without commitment, you won't start. Without consistency, you won't finish. Every day, I say to my wife, not every day, but most days, we have this attitude that we're going to slay today. That's the attitude that I get up with. I get up with an attitude of gratitude, and then it's beast mode. Today, I'm going to slay. Today, I'm going to slay. Right? Yeah, you can't follow that hurt. You can't follow the 95%. Unless you want what the 95% get. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is 1 Minute Motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, brought to you by my good friends over at Open Arms Wellness. Right? I want you to do me a favor. I'm going to put a link in the comments. If you need to talk to someone, they really have some great counselors that help parents and teenagers go through these different changes that has to happen as one evolves, right? And this link in the comment will allow you to match yourself with the right therapist, ladies and gentlemen. It is okay to talk to a professional. It is okay to talk to a professional, ladies and gentlemen. We got to break this stigma, especially in the Black community, that the only person we can talk to about our problems is our pastor, right? Sometimes pastor ain't equipped to help with some of these certain mental conditions, right? We know that God is a healer, but we still go to the physical doctor, right? So give my folks over at Open Arms Wellness a call at 314-329-4326 and let them know that Cortez Hustle sent you, or you can go to their website, openarmswellness.com. So we're continuing our series on leadership. Yesterday was part 1. We did the 10 attributes of leadership. Today is the final part in this series, and we're going to do part 2 today, which is the 10 common causes of failure in leadership. And then tomorrow, I want you guys to come back. I got my man Jay Turner coming on, and he's going to be talking about credit and trucking and the amazing opportunities that's existing right now in the trucking industry. So don't forget to come back tomorrow to check that out. So the 10 major causes of failure in leadership. We come now to the major faults of leaders who fail, because it is just as essential to know what not to do as it is to know what to do. Number 1, inability to organize details. We're talking about what causes leaders to fail, right? Inability to organize details. Efficient leadership calls for the ability to organize and to master details. No genuine leader is ever too busy to do anything which may be required as a leader. When a leader or a follower is too busy to change plans or give attention to any emergency, it is an indication of inefficiency. The successful leader must be the master of all details connected with the position. That means, of course, the habit of delegating details to capable lieutenants must be acquired. If you can't organize details and you don't know how to best manage your time and best put your teams in the best position to effectively use their gifts, talents, skills, and abilities, then that's on you as a leader. That's on you as a leader. You have to be able to delegate. You have to be able to put people in position to win, right? Leaders don't get paid. And this is not just leaders, this is all of us, right? We don't get paid for what we know. We get paid for what we do with what we know, right? You guys realize like CEO of Apple makes over $100 million a year? Over $100 million a year for running this company. And what is his job? His job is to put the right people in the right position for the company to win. Organizing details, strategically manipulating those who are in the organization to get them to do what? What needs to be done, but only by making them feel like they want to do it. Right? Because people do only what they want to do. Period. If they don't want to do it, they ain't doing it. But when you can communicate the vision and the mission, and you tie the individual followers' vision and mission into the overall vision and mission of the company, oh man, they're gonna run through hell with gasoline draws on for the company. That's leadership. So the inability to organize details is one of the major causes of failure in leadership. Number two, unwillingness to render humble service. Unwillingness to render humble service as a leader. I'm too haughty to do certain jobs now that I made it to the top, right? Truly great leaders are willing, when occasion demands, to perform any sort of labor that they would ask any other to perform. The greatest among ye shall be the servant of all, is a truth that all able leaders observe and respect. Right? Trying to think about that. What happened when Christ knelt down to wash his disciples' feet? The disciples said, hey, no, I can't let you do that, Master. That was an example of a leader saying, listen, as your leader, I want to set the example that I'm willing to do all of the work. I'm not too good for any of the work. Sometimes as leaders, we get to a place where we no longer want to get our hands dirty. Right? Mark says that brings me back to the Low Price Leader podcast, right? That was a show we connected on. Awesome. Listen, it's like you can't ever get to the place as a leader where you no longer are willing to get your hands dirty, right? You can't get to that place as a leader. You got to always be willing to set the example and set the bar. Because if you as the CEO is willing to get your hands dirty, then what does that say to your vice presidents? That they got to be willing to get in the trenches too. What is that when your vice presidents are willing to get into the trenches? What does that say about your executives? That means your executives got to be willing to get in the trenches too. What does that say about your managers who are under those executives? They got to be willing to get into the trenches too. And you create this, hey, none of us are ever too good. Yeah, I got a haughty title. Yeah, I got bigger responsibilities. But when opportunity demands that we all get in the trenches, I'm in the trenches with you. Number three, we're talking about the 10 common causes of failure. Number three, expectation of pay for what they know instead of what they do with what they know. Right? Yeah, I love Undercover Boss, Mark. Like, got to be willing to go down, and sometimes we get too far removed from those levels and we forget what it's like, right? The world does not pay for what people know. It pays for what they do or induce others to do with what they know. I want y'all to think about that. A lot of people have, most of us are literally sitting on $1 billion worth of intellectual capital. I see it every day, right? Most of us are literally sitting on $1 billion worth of intellectual capital. The things that you learned in school, the things that you learned on jobs, the experiences that you've gone through, the things that you've witnessed and have seen, your expertise, your innate gifts from God. Like, we're all sitting on billions of dollars of intellectual capital, and we wonder why we broke. Because it ain't what you know, it's what you do with what you know. And for most of us, all we have to do is package up what we know and present it to the marketplace. Do you guys realize that online learning, being able to produce courses and teachings and trainings and webinars, that industry is $1 billion per day. Forbes predicted that it'll be $1 billion per day industry by 2025, but they predicted that in 2018 before a global pandemic. And since the global pandemic, now you not only have individuals like me teaching, now what did all the colleges and universities do? You can go to a university and get a digital marketing certificate, just like what I can teach you how to do. Because they realize that people are really getting into self-education and this online learning. So now you can go get certified in a lot of areas. And these certifications, where they used to come from entrepreneurs like me, now they're coming from universities offering these courses on social media marketing and management. And you don't have to go and get a 4-year degree. They'll give you an online course that you can take over the course of 4 weeks, and they'll charge you $2,500. Right? This industry, take your gifts, talents, special abilities, and your experiences, learn how to package and present that to the marketplace. I'm talking to all of y'all, you're all sitting on billions of dollars worth of intellectual capital. But it's not what you know, it's what you do with what you know. Number 4, fear of competition from followers. We're talking about things that cause people to fail in positions of leadership. The leader who fears that one of his followers may take his position is practically sure to realize that fear sooner or later. Seriously, like, if that's your fear, that you done brought somebody into your organization and they're gonna lap you, it's gonna come true. Because what that means is you have probably gotten to a place where you have stopped learning and growing yourself. You got to a place where you stop producing yourself. So now all you do is sit back and you point the finger and you direct and you delegate too much. And now you're thinking that, man, this dude right here is gonna have my spot. You're thinking that way, it's going to erode your ability to lead. And yes, it will one day happen. It is an eternal truth that people receive more pay for their ability to get others to perform than they could ever possibly earn by their own efforts. Right? You can't be afraid of losing your position. Like, I bring people into my organization all the time. I've got a 10-year head start on some of them, 5-year head start on some of them, 2-year head start on some of them. If I'm afraid that you're gonna outpace me in my 2-year head start, it's only because I know I'm not doing what I should be doing to continue to grow. Period. Number 5. This is a big one, man. Lack of imagination. Lack of imagination. As we've gotten halfway through our list, do me a favor. If you have not already commented the name of your business and or your brand, you want to do that. You never know who might want to connect with you on the stream. Whether you're watching on Facebook Live, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, go ahead and hit that share button for me as well. And if you're listening to us via the podcast, then make sure you subscribe to the podcast and leave us a rating. Let us know how we're doing. And if there's anything we could do to approve, I welcome all feedback, criticism, or accolades. Number 5, lack of imagination. We're talking 10 causes of failed leadership. Lack of imagination. Without imagination, leaders are incapable of meeting emergencies and of creating plans by which to guide followers efficiently. Right? Lack of imagination, lack of creative thinking, right? A lack of a willingness to get outside of the box to get something accomplished. Every now and then, you got to get outside the box, right? And if you lack imagination as a leader, then you're ultimately going to fail, because things will always come up in your life, whether it's business, whether you're leading your family, whether you're leading a church or a nonprofit organization, whether you're leading a school, whether you're leading a sports team. Like, things will always knock you away from your plan. And it's your imaginative capacity that allows you to make the necessary adjustments when things go off track. Number 6, this is a big one, selfishness. Selfishness, right? Leaders who claim all the honor for the work of their followers are sure to be met by resentment. Really great leaders claim none of the honor. They are content to see the honors go to their followers because they know that most people will work harder for accommodations and recognition than they will for money alone. My son is on his 5th game, I think, with his new school. He was at Missouri Valley College for his first 2 years. Then he transferred, had to sit out for 18 months, and now he's with his new team. And as a point guard, I've been teaching him over the years that wins are the result of your team. Losses are the fault of you as the leader and the point guard. Right? When the team wins, that's everybody else's fault. Right? They did that. When the team loses, it's his fault. That's leadership. That's leadership. It's my fault. I didn't lead this team to victory tonight. Right? And as leaders, it becomes easy, especially if you're in the limelight, especially when you're in places where people will literally, like a Tom Brady, and you see some of these great leaders do that. Tom, man, you draw your team down, and I'll use Patrick Mahomes since they won last week. You drove your team down at the last second, man, and you got them into overtime. Man, how does that feel, man? How are you able to do that? First thing he do is throw it on his teammates. Oh man, Tyreek Hill made a great catch. Oh man, Kelsey did what he needed to do to get open, and I was just fortunate enough to throw that humility, right? That no, I'm not going to let you put me above my teammates. I'm not going to let you cause me to create this division, even though I may not be trying to. No, it wasn't me. No, those guys, the guys up front blocked for me really well and created a nice pocket for me to get a pass off, and I saw him and I threw it, right? That's leadership, right? Selflessness, not selfishness. Number 7, intemperance. Followers do not respect an intemperate leader. Moreover, intemperance in any of its various forms destroys the endurance and the vitality of all who indulges in it, right? One of the attributes of a good leader was self-control. Nobody wants to be around or work with or work for someone who's intemperate. You can't control your indulgences, whether it is food, whether it is sex, whether it is pornography, whether it is alcoholism and drinking, whether it is partying. If you can't, you out of control, you out of control. I had a mentor tell me just the other night, shout out to Dr. Danetta Watson. She said, an unbalance anywhere equals a total unbalance. An unbalance in one part of your life means you're out of balance everywhere, right? So intemperance, exercise self-control, emotional intelligence. Number 8, we're talking about the 10 common causes of failed leadership. Number 8, disloyalty. Perhaps this should have come at the head of the list. Leaders who are not loyal to their trust and their associates, those above and below them, cannot long maintain their leadership. Disloyalty marks people as being less than the dust of the earth and brings down on their head the contempt they deserve. Lack of loyalty is one of the major causes of failure in every walk of life, right? Yeah, unbalance anywhere, it creates unbalance everywhere, right? So disloyalty, that's one of those things that You can't be loyal. Nobody wants to support you. And it ultimately leads to your demise. Number 9, emphasis on the authority of leadership, right? Now, we've all been here, right? We've all been here where the person in the leadership position has to constantly remind people that they are the leader, right? How many of you guys ever been there, right? Give me a 1 in the comment if you ever work for someone who has to constantly remind you that they are the leader. If you have to constantly remind somebody that you're a leader, chances are you're not a good one. I'm going to say that again. If you have to constantly remind people of your leadership position, chances are you're not a good leader, right? Because as a leader, like, even when I don't have the title of leadership, people naturally assume that I'm the leader, because that's what leadership does, right? Efficient leaders lead by encouraging, not by trying to instill fear in the hearts of their followers. Leaders who try to impress followers with their authority can, within the category of leadership, come within the category of leadership by fear. Real leaders have no need to advertise the fact except by their conduct, sympathy, understanding, fairness, and a demonstration of knowledge of the job, right? I don't have to constantly remind you or tell you that I'm a leader, or do what I say because I have this authority. You know I can get you fired, right? You know I got your career in my hands, right? Like, now you're trying to scare me into following you, and that's not how you build that followership. Number 10, emphasis of title, right? This is the last and final one. Competent leaders require no title to gain the respect of their followers. Leaders who make too much of their title generally have little else to emphasize, right? The doors to the office of real leaders are open to all who wish to enter, and their working quarters are free from formality or ostentation, right? Listen, if you have to have, like, some people can't even have a conversation unless you address them by their title, right? And I'm not saying that you disrespect people for earning a title, right? But most real leaders don't need to be called the leader. Most real leaders don't need to be called by the title. Most real leaders don't have to throw it up in your face every second that they get that they are the leader, right? How many times have you heard a Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan correct somebody who didn't address them as NBA champion Kobe Bryant, NBA champion Michael Jordan, right? You don't often get that, right? Most leaders don't require that. If you're a real leader, then those who you lead, they know it. They know it. And you have to constantly remind people. In fact, one of the ways that you know it is when your followers get upset more than you and they want to correct people. Oh, no, get it right. That's executive vice president. Get it right. No, that is founder and CEO. You address them, but like, that's how you know, like, because they garner that much respect for you that they want you to be respected, right? That's how real leaders behave. So let me just recap all 10 and then we're going to get out of here. Don't forget, guys, if you have not already shared the show, I'd really appreciate it if you share the show My goal this year is to blow this podcast up across all platforms that it's streamed on. So if you're on Facebook, share it on Facebook. If you're on YouTube, share it from YouTube, right? If you're listening via iTunes, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, wherever, just leave a rating and share it to your timeline, if you will. So the 10 major causes of failure: inability to organize details, unwillingness to render humble service, expectation of pay for what they know instead of what they do with what they know is number 3. Number 4, fear of competition from followers. Number 5, lack of imagination. Number 6, selfishness. Number 7, intemperance. Number 8, disloyalty. Number 9, emphasis of the authority of leadership. And number 10, emphasis of title. If you, my friend, want to be better at leadership, right, you can do, right? It says, how do I block you? If you are on Facebook, just hit the unfollow button, right? It's simple. It looks like you're on Facebook. So just hit the unfollow button. And that's how you block me, right? Clearly you followed me for a reason. If I am no longer serving that purpose for you, then if you hit unfollow, you will no longer get any notifications that I'm live or anything regarding any of my posts. Johnny McDowell, just hit the unfollow button, bro. That's how you do that. So appreciate you guys all for tuning in. Don't forget, tomorrow we got Jay Turner coming on to talk about credit and trucking and the vast opportunities that are living in the space of this supply chain shortage, right? When it comes to trucking and the trucking industry, that's tomorrow. And then next week, we start our Black History Month lineup of shows where we got some great people doing wonderful things in their businesses, but they're also making incredible impacts in their communities as well. So I appreciate you guys all for tuning in. Until we talk to you next time, I want you to get your money up, because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it, each and every single one of you. Now hustle up. But you've got to overcome fear if you're going to win.
You're tuned into the Cortez Hustle Show. Please like and